Hello, everybody. Welcome to another great show. I hope everyone's having a good day today. Today is a very special day for me because today I start my career as a podcast host. No, I'm just kidding. But we do have a show tonight. We are actually getting a chance to interview a pretty big YouTuber by the name of Synodic Scribe. For those of you who don't know who he is a lore content creator, basically makes videos about Final Fantasy lore, and I am excited. This is pretty much our first guest that me and Shiloh are having, so it's a little bit nerve-wracking, but I think we'll be fine. We are both pretty big fans of his, so I feel like because of that, it should make it a little bit easier to actually have a conversation with him and just to talk about his work and his craft. So that should be fun. We're going to be doing that in about 2 hours or so. So I figured I'd just hop on stream and just hang out for a little bit, just kill time. And yeah, so this is what we're doing today. I thought I really wanted to see the Final Fantasy 16 gameplay from the State of Play that they did. I think it was yesterday. And I saw that Zepla reacted to it, so I figured may as well watch her react to it and basically kill two birds with one stone. So while I do that, I may as well just do my dailies. So yeah, let's just get right into it. Zepla reacts to Final Fantasy 16 new gameplay. State of Play. Let's see how this goes. I hope she likes it because I'm really excited for this game.
This is Naoki Yoshida.
Let me know if you can hear it.
Final Fantasy 16, and welcome to the State of Play. Today, I'm here to talk a little bit about the story, world, and combat system of Final Fantasy 16, as well as reveal all new information regarding the game's wide variety of RPG elements and support systems. We'll be talking you through everything while
it's kind of low, but we'll make do
on the PlayStation 5. I hope you'll stay with us until the end of the show and enjoy everything we have in store for you. With that, let's get started.
Let's go. I am so excited for this game.
You all know the target. Shiva's dominant. And only the dominant. Focus, Wyvern. You are key to this mission's success.
Man, this looks so sick.
Yes, Sergeant.
It's giving me major Game of Thrones vibes.
Oh my
Like
god.
when it comes out, like
He's having second thoughts.
Allow me to welcome you to the world of Final Fantasy 16. Final Fantasy 16 is the latest installment in the Final Fantasy series, a storied franchise with 35 years of history. Yet while this is the 16th mainline title in the series, there's absolutely no need to have played any of the previous games before jumping in.
that's good.
With a fusion
That's good that
of
you don't have to play the
real-time
other
action
games.
and RPG
But I feel like
features,
most of the games
Final
were like
Fantasy
that already.
16 has been developed as the first true action RPG in the series. Using the power of the PlayStation
wrong about
5 to
that?
its fullest, the game delivers an expansive, thrilling gameplay
It's too loud?
experience which we liken
Okay,
to a
sorry.
high-speed roller coaster ride.
Those big battles are gonna be so crazy. You already know. Wow.
He dragged him by the head and
You can
That's
you can
Titan.
tell the combat was made by the
Titan
Devil
gun.
May Cry guys.
You're like the traveler.
Damn. That's so cool.
Yes.
The protagonist of our story
Yes.
is Clive Rosfield, and his journey takes place in the realm of Valisthea. We follow the epic tale of Clive, Shield of the Grand Duchy of Rosaria, as it unfolds across 3 distinct periods in our hero's life, his teens, 20s, and 30s.
Oh,
While the
Bad
story
end.
begins with Clive in his 20s, a fully playable
I still don't know how I
flashback
feel about the name
experience the pivotal
Clive,
events that shaped his
but
past and present.
you know, it is what it is, I guess.
oh, that's him, but
And thus does the curtain open on this newest Final Fantasy adventure.
nice.
I wonder if the game is gonna have a glam system. I think that's my biggest question.
Using your sword, like a Witcher.
Yeah, it does have gameplay like Witcher. They're going dark. They're really going dark with this game. Which is good. There he is. There's Ifrit. There's an Ifrit.
Oh my god! I'm ready to play. I'm ready to play. Punch!
Navigation in Final Fantasy XVI is driven via a world map, with locations
Okay.
being added and updated as players progress through the main narrative.
Okay, that's pretty cool. The world changes as you go on.
The world map can be opened at any time, allowing players access to all manner of locations across Valisthea. Here, players will meet new friends,
The UI looks
encounter formidable foes, and uncover great and wondrous mysteries.
I'm sure.
Looks like a puzzle. With your puppy. Wow.
It looks beautiful. It really does.
I wonder how
Just look
how
at that.
dynamic will actually riding on your mount be.
I wonder if
Your
you're going to be
horse
able to
too slow would be
fly.
pretty
Can
bad.
you fly your
With
chocobo?
mounts.
I wonder how much of the Final Fantasy 14 formula they're going to bring into the game. Because it's like a completely different game.
Next, I'd like
Gotta
to talk
have
about
the-
the combat of Final Fantasy XVI.
Okay. Well, the world
All
looks
the
beautiful.
battles in the game take place in real time and are not turn-based. As Clive progresses through the story, he will learn a wide array of exciting abilities from the icons that he encounters.
Cool.
Now, let's take a moment to admire Clive in action.
He's like a planeswalker. So he can use all the elements. Oh!
Wow. I cannot wait to play this game.
Can you do an elemental reaction?
I wonder what the limit breaks are like. You know they're gonna have to. They have to have limit breaks.
Fucking wings.
Wow. That looks crazy.
Are you gonna be getting attacked constantly? When you're in the open world or what? I think FF...
This looks so big.
Nahida, yeah, I noticed. Nice!
Wow.
I like the lightning stuff. That's my first. Is that like Mega Player? Aquamorn? It looked like a channeled Aquamorn.
Yeah, it did.
The abilities
That
that Clive
definitely did.
wields have unique characteristics depending on the icon they are derived from. Players can use ability points collected by defeating
That's so
enemies
cool. I wish
to
we had
unlock
that in
more
this game.
abilities or
Like that's the
upgrade
one thing that I
existing
loved
Soul
about
lightning build.
like God of War and
Fully
Spider-Man. They had
lightning.
all of these
Can't decide
different
which
traits and
iconic
stuff that you can
ability
upgrade.
to unlock or
Ah,
upgrade.
this game,
No problem.
This game definitely
You
needs
can
something
let the
like that.
game choose for you.
What?
Final Fantasy XVI includes a range of timely accessories to provide support to those players who may not be so skilled at action games, bringing
Wow.
them a truly enjoyable experience.
Pretty cool. Have like
Good,
your
that's
your
good
own
news
easy
for me.
mode.
To equip Clive with different combinations of these accessories until they find the one that perfectly matches their own playstyle. A
So,
combination I can particularly recommend to those who may struggle with action gameplay is the Ring of Timely Focus and the Ring of Timely Strikes. This combination allows players to unleash a wide array of different techniques just by pressing a single attack button.
I wonder
as
if
well
the
as shifting
narrator
into
is
a
that
window of
Koji?
slow motion whenever Clive
sounds a
is
lot
about
like
to be
Koji
hit by an
Fox.
attack,
Maybe it's
giving
just
them
me,
a
though.
little extra time to hit R1 and evade.
it's like summons an Elden
players
Ring.
could equip an accessory that fully automates evasion. As I said before, I really encourage everyone to discover the combination that works best for them.
Right.
We can't use any of that.
And for those who want to concentrate on the story,
No
don't forget to
accessory
choose
run.
Story Focus Mode before starting a new game.
Look what that does.
In this mode, timely accessories are automatically equipped from the start, allowing players to immerse themselves in the narrative experience without having to worry too much with the action.
That's cool. You know, I know a lot of people don't like
How
when
much do you
games
want it
have
to
an
feel
easy
like?
mode, but I honestly don't mind it.
A movie?
You know, if I want to play an easy mode, so what? Who cares?
Clive will meet many characters along his journey who will join him as friends and allies.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with an easy mode.
These are fallen ruins.
Well, we didn't think they'd mind. And it keeps the black from our lungs.
But how do you survive without magic?
Sidolphus, who becomes a mentor to Clive. Jill, a friend from Clive's youth.
It really is.
Such encounters and reunions will set Clive on a path of great personal growth.
Oh?
Cool.
Clive.
Are there
Some of these
romance?
companions will even
options?
accompany Clive on his
Probably.
adventures, fighting alongside him and finding lots to talk about along the way. That said, players will only need to focus on controlling Clive. Party members are fully AI-driven, providing support for the hero and constantly adapting and responding to his actions.
That could be good or bad.
Yeah, if it's like Bioshock, I think Bioshock did it best.
Oh my god. No, don't put that puppy.
Wow, look at Shiva.
Oh, and we cannot forget Torgal.
Oh, the dog.
Puppy!
A smart, strong, and fiercely loyal hound,
Torgal.
Torgal is always by Clive's side and willing to stand by him in the face of whatever cruel fate may befall them. Torgal will act of his own accord, but players can also give him direct commands.
That's pretty cool. I wonder if you're gonna be able to give him armor and stuff.
Just don't forget to give this good boy some treats every now and then.
Yes.
That too.
Goots, get her upstairs.
But none will...
Don't fret about Karen. I've taken care of her fee.
All of it?
She's the best healer this side of the belt.
Karen?
You've nothing to worry about.
Karen.
Go. Have a look around. I'll bring my soul.
After progressing somewhat through the game, Clive will gain access to Sid's hideaway.
Blocking the camera, Pepper.
Here in the hideaway, Clive will find
I don't
a
know why
shop
she
where he can
really
purchase new
enjoys it
weapons, armor,
when I
and
hop on
consumables
stream.
such as potions.
I think she just likes to be on camera.
Blackthorn, a highly skilled blacksmith, works the hideaway's forge. Bring in materials to craft new gear or upgrade existing items.
Okay.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
After upgrading your equipment or unlocking new abilities, try accessing the Arete Stone.
Training mode.
Here, players can enter a virtual training area outside the bounds of time and space, where they are free to refine and practice combos of their very own.
Okay.
You can get good
Once
and
you're
take off your
confident in your
accessory.
skills, try your hand at arcade mode and see how your scores stack up against players from around the world. The hideaway is home to a lot of other features as well.
The leaderboard.
That's pretty cool. Just add more game things to
Do
it.
you have a house?
Not only will players discover a variety of side quests here, but they can also view information on quests offered all around Valisthea.
I wonder if there's gonna be dailies. What can we expect in the open world besides side quests?
All right, Clive.
It's a
I
big
really
question.
hope the side
Busy
quests
saving the
are really interesting. I think God of War did it best with their side quests.
When did you get back?
Market board. Right?
That is one chunky
Market board?
Moogle.
Oh, I wasn't expecting you back so soon.
Patron's Whisper.
Visit the hunt board to gain information on elite marks, fearsome foes lurking about the realm in desperate need of slaying. The Moogle will be your guide.
It's from Final Fantasy 14. We have that too. Okay, so you can go kill random monsters from the hunt board. I have done that. Nice.
Cool.
Wow, it looks super good.
Yeah, that looks
There's
crazy.
also Loresman Harpocrates, who will unlock Valisthea's secrets as Clive recounts tales of his adventures.
Her properties.
Like, you know, Yoshi P has put in a lot of 14 Easter eggs in the game.
Quite the find for you today.
I'll probably make a video on all the ones that I can find.
Wish to study the tomes?
Here for another of my lectures.
And Vivian Ninetails,
What is it
a
that you
scholar
wish to
and
learn?
strategist who will be more than happy to explain to Clive the current state of the realm and provide information on key players. There are all kinds of interactions and features in the hideaway to help players get even more enjoyment out of their time with Final Fantasy XVI.
Pretty cool.
Just like lore unlocks. That's cool. Lore.
Yeah, the game looks huge.
So they don't
crazy.
overload you with too much lore in the quest, I guess.
On his travels, Clive will encounter
Oh,
a
there's
variety
the
of
Morble.
fearsome foes.
That's so cool.
Wow!
Wow. Holy
It's
crap.
cool to see it. Oh, it's a Dragoon.
Oh, that is a dragoon. Thanks.
Fafnir.
Wow. Midnight Raven.
Okay, that's probably the best looking battle.
Look at that! What? Am I even watching? That looks so cool.
He will, of course, clash with the dominants who wield the power of the icons.
Wow.
Why won't he LB? He has 2 LB. LB, man! He's waiting for the boss to be at 5%. He's gonna wait for the boss to be at 1% before he LB.
Lands under their sway.
I don't know why the fuck they do this. It's so annoying.
Mysterious
Use it
constructs
now,
of the
dude.
fallen. A civilization shrouded in mystery.
Wow.
Saving LB for FF7. LB hurts your logs. True.
Hmm.
It's a DPS loss.
What the hell?
Barnabas. How complicated are these mechanics going to be, I wonder?
And we cannot forget the icons themselves. Experience unparalleled real-time action combat as Clive takes command of the iconic might coursing through his veins and shatters his very limits.
Oh, wow!
Wow.
The shining point of Final Fantasy XVI, however, has to be the breathtaking icon versus icon battles.
Damn.
This is a battle. This is not a cutscene. You're spamming attack.
These epic confrontations all play out in real
Attack,
time,
fireball, lunge, evade.
allowing
You can
players
see on
to
the right
control
side.
their very own icon with their own hands.
Riddle looks crazy.
Cinematic strike.
These battles differ depending on the icon encountered, and every showdown is unique,
Ramu.
right down to gameplay. Players will experience everything from a 3D scrolling shooter to a heavyweight wrestling match with devastating attacks that encompass the entire battlefield.
Wow. You know they're going all out with this game. That's what I love about it. Because I know 15
Well,
wasn't
Massive-scale boss
it
battles
wasn't
are
people's
entirely
favorite.
seamless, and I can
So you
promise
know they wanna
heart-stopping,
do something different
controller-gripping
now.
excitement. I can't wait for you to get your hands on the game for yourself.
Yeah, me neither.
Ifrit is tiny compared to he's so small. You're like a mosquito.
Nice trick. But if you can do it, then so could I!
Learn Brimstone.
You've learned brimstone instead. You learned abilities.
Whoa. Oh, that's Bahamut. Oh, that looks so cool.
So
Oh my gosh, that looks awesome. Wow.
this is what happens if they didn't nerf Blue Mage. We asked for Blue Mage at full power.
I'm
This
gonna
is
say it right now. This is gonna be game of the year. I mean, what else? What else is out there? This is definitely gonna be game of the year. I mean, unless GTA 6 comes out, which I
iPhone.
doubt, this is definitely gonna be game of the year. No, it's Wow, look at this. Is that even gameplay? Is that like a cutscene? No, that's gameplay. What the hell? Wow.
Is that a
insane.
tentacle? There is so much going on.
Damn. Look how big that is.
Was that Titan's? Tail?
Odin, I think. This just looks like it looks like a movie.
Ridiculous.
My God.
So everyone,
Wow.
what did you think?
Damn.
Thank you
Wow.
for taking the time to join
Good
us
job,
today.
Yoshi P.
Final Fantasy XVI will be available worldwide June 22nd.
Dang.
There's still plenty that we've left to reveal. Battle content, side content, endgame content, and more. We hope to bring you more on these aspects
I
of
didn't
the
even
game
think about
in the
endgame
near
content.
future. Also, I'm truly excited to finally be able to reveal that Final Fantasy XVI's main theme was written and performed by one of Japan's greatest recording artists,
Oh.
Kenshi Yonezu. We've still
Cool.
got a lot more in store for you in the coming weeks, and I hope you'll all pre-order the game and join us in Valisthea on release day. This
Mm.
has
I
been
definitely will.
Naoki Yoshida, producer
I
of
definitely
Final
will.
Fantasy XVI. See you again soon.
Wow. I need to get a PS5 now. Shoot. Are they even available yet? I know people were having trouble getting
That's it?
PS5s.
Is that it? No.
That was awesome. That was great.
Is that it? Has it been 20 minutes? It was a lot, but I want more.
Yeah.
It was a lot. It seems really over the top. It seems
is good.
They're going for the most epic feeling game
Mm.
ever.
They are going for
The question is,
best Final Fantasy game.
will gameplay feel like a cinematic? Will cinematics flow well into gameplay? Will your attacks feel like they have real power behind them? This is something that you can only know by testing it and playing it yourself, because
Yeah.
I feel like has. Man, I'm personally like 98% sure that it will hit all that, but it's hard to say before you really experience
Yeah,
it.
we have to get our
So-
hands on it first.
What's the question? You said it's definitely heavy on the visual effects, but from experience with these type of games, it's much easier once you play it yourself, when you know which buttons are being pressed.
Sure.
It's more expected and you feel the impact of it. Yeah, exactly. It's sort of like you need to decipher a lot of the things that you're seeing on screen. I don't want fights to feel like a visual mess, but I don't know, but I hope that won't happen just from it being so flashy. But a lot of times people say FF14 is flashy
Yeah.
and that they don't understand everything that's going on. But I mean, slowly you learn what to look for. Slowly you understand what's happening around you. So no PC at all.
Yeah, we're gonna need
I think that
to get a PS5
PC
to play this.
is later. I think PC is later on, right?
Most
I don't know
likely.
if they
I mean, they
confirmed it,
brought most of them
but
to PC.
in the beginning, it will
I
be
don't see why they
PS5.
wouldn't.
That's not a priority. After 6 months, we think that it will come to PC, just like the FF7 remake. Well, I did get a PS5, so I will be able to stream it. I will definitely be streaming it. Combat is not made by FF14's job designers, so it should actually be good. It's violent. Well,
That's a take.
we'll see about it.
That is definitely a take.
Yoshida confirms Final Fantasy 16 won't be on PC 6 months after PS5 release. I've caused a bit of stir with my remarks. Final Fantasy 16 producer Naoki Yoshida has commented once again on PC version of the game, confirmed it won't be available 6 months after PS5 release. It won't be? For real? Are you sure? Are you completely sure? It'll probably take longer than that.
Yeah. I mean,
I think it looks incredible, personally.
Look at what happened with The
I'm
Last of
trying
Us
to
on
temper my
PC.
expectations a little bit because I know that I have a tendency to get overexcited about stuff. This is something I do. I know that I do that. And so, for me, I could not be more hyped for this game. I'm completely certain that it's going to be incredible.
It's going to be Game
So
of the
I'm
Year.
just asking myself, okay, well, what could go wrong in theory? What could potentially... Like, look at that. It looks sick. That's the Akamorna thing. What's really neat to me is when you can, like, partially channel an icon. So this looks like a partial channeling of Bahamut.
Could be like a
to
summon.
Death Lair. Yes. You said these footage always only show the best. There's no telling if the story will be good or if there's going to be a lot of bugs. There's no way to know that.
There's no way to
Of course
know
they're gonna show
until the
only
game
best
comes out.
in the previews, but
Obviously.
I think it's promising, especially considering how much time they've had to work on it and polish it. Because I've heard they've been in the polishing phase for months already.
Which is good. You know, we don't want another game to come out that gets fixed,
We'll see.
you know, a year later. And I mean, this is their
Also
biggest
appreciate
IP,
the fact that they're
so
putting in
it
the
needs to be good.
difficulty adjusting items for you to make things easier for you if you want to be more casual about it or you're not very good at this type of game. That's something that Elden Ring had in it, at least in the beginning, with the summons, like allowing you to sort of set your own difficulty that way and adjust things that are hard for you in particular, like maybe dodging is hard or maybe aiming is hard. I think that's the better way to do difficulty settings nowadays.
Yeah, because I mean, what even
So that way they don't
is
end up having to
easy,
just, like,
normal, and hard? You know, some games
dumb everything
really
down.
when you
better
hit
to
a
let a
hard
player tailor that.
difficulty. Usually in games when you pick a hard difficulty, all they really do is either give the enemies double XP, or they just make them hit harder. So I think this is a way better way of doing it, personally.
Experience more. Oop. God of War had a ton of accessibility options too.
Yeah, God of War
I
was
think if
great.
nothing else, Yoshida knows of a good story. As for the story, they mentioned that in the hideout that you go to, where there's like all the NPCs there, and there's these lore NPCs that you can unlock different lore entries for different characters you meet. Oh, where was it? It's somewhere around here. I think this is probably good because it means that they're not going to be overloading. Well, at least I assume it could mean that they won't be overloading normal quests with a ton of world building, which is something that can often bog down a story's momentum. That stuff
That's fair.
sometimes better left in lore entries that you can read at your leisure, and so that way they don't feel the need to put so much exposition in a story. And you can still... Where was it? I'm trying to find it. Oh, here it is.
White to
Yeah, this is
to
it.
aim on.
Scholar and strategist who will be more than happy to explain to Clive the current state of the realm and provide information on key players.
Yeah, so like if you're confused about the story, you don't know what's going on, like you can slowly be unlocking this too. Which will also be good if you come back after a while. If you played for a while and then you stopped, you can come back and not be completely lost. You said you have so much trust in Yoshida's directing and project management capabilities. Yeah, same, honestly. I have really high confidence in the game too. I'm gonna wait for PC release. There aren't enough games on PS5 for me to justify. Yeah, if I didn't have, well, for me it's different because I'm a Final Fantasy fanatic, but I mean, I would buy the PS5 for this game. if I didn't have it already, yeah, I would.
It's like I don't want to buy a PS5, but I need to play this game. It just looks great.
But
I think what I'm gonna do though is I'm just gonna wait until reviews come out.
I don't have to because I do have
and
one
then
box
hopefully
for
I can
Horizon.
find like a Final Fantasy PS5. I mean, I'm sure they're gonna have a bundle. So
What
I'm
pre-order
probably
bonus?
gonna do
Did they
that.
announce that yet?
I just have to wait to
not
make sure
sure.
that the game is actually
You
worth
said
it.
FF15 trailer looked great too, then the game. The thing with FF15 is, at least from what I've heard and read, they didn't have the time. Man, this was so cool. This was probably one of the coolest things I've seen. They didn't have the time that they needed. They didn't have the time and resources that they needed to polish it, which is not an issue with this game at all.
Yeah, I don't think
have a
15
shitload
was a
of time to
bad
polish,
game per
so-
se. I just thought it had a weird ending in my opinion. 'Cause it just
It's an
turned
active
into a
time
different game.
maneuver. It is. You gotta spam all the buttons to get out of it. That is what that was. But I would love to see the lighting here, the forest around looks really good.
Yeah, it looks great.
I thought it looked quite nice. Your dog is just growling. His puffed tail. Oh no, he's not just growling. He's attacking. He's attacking. He's attacking. You're good.
Oh, why did that kill me?
PS5 had almost nothing to show for with their console, and now to give a reason to buy the console to keep my fancy, I'd boycott Sony at this point. I mean,
I
you
don't know
can
about
if you
that.
want to. It is annoying. FF15 had a longer development time than FF16.
It didn't have Yoshi P though.
Oh my god. It's mismanagement. It's just mismanagement. But Yoshi P that is his special power. That is his superpower. Is management and scheduling and planning. This is what he does really, really fucking well. And he loves game dev, but apart from that, I think what makes him unique is the experience that he has with planning. In the past, I remember him saying that he takes the time to go and talk to every group who's working on a project and asks them directly about how much time do they think they need to do a specific task. And he takes all of that information into account when making a plan.
Interesting.
I have worked in game dev quite a bit, and that sounds like the common sense thing to do, but you would be surprised how that almost never happens. This pretty much never happens, at least in the companies I work for. Usually,
I think I remember hearing that
People,
Zeppela worked at Raid Shadow Legends. I
the
don't know
boss
if that was
tells
ever confirmed,
everybody what
but
to do and
I don't
doesn't
know why I
really think
find
about
that
how
so
long it's
funny.
going to take, and then everybody's rushing at the last second because no one had any communication about when things needed to happen, and you end up at the last second with horrible crunch because there was no management, no organization, no communication. This is usually what happens
Yeah, it makes sense.
if there's not someone like Yoshi P in charge. So that's why I feel pretty good about it and optimistic about it. No, we will see. The proof will be in the pudding.
Yeah, we'll see. I definitely think the game has the ability to be game of the year. I think what they've put out so far is fantastic. They really just have to stick the landing. And if they could do that, game of the year. It's that simple. Okay, I really wanted to watch a couple of Scribe's video before the podcast, so let's just dive into some of his more popular ones. Let's see, what do I want to see? Let's go with, like, oh, you know what? I know what to do. He put out a video on Lace, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Okay.
Let's do this.
Before you all start getting into a flame war with each other in the comment section, let's just take a moment and relax. Half of the fun of these videos is analyzing something that people may or may not agree with, and that's okay.
Right.
So, before you write something that is arguably irresponsible and immature in the comments section, take a moment to consider the feelings of everyone else involved.
Sure.
Understandably. The reason I say that is because I understand that many people don't care for Lise. And I understand a few people do think that she's a great character. And honestly,
I think she's okay. I thought her as Ida was pretty bad, and I think Lise is a pretty good step up. I'm sort of just waiting to see what is next for her character.
I'm not here to say whether or not she is or isn't. All I'm going to do is give a take on why people may or may not like Lise, and how I'm more or less indifferent about both sides.
Yeah,
I don't
that's how
think
feel
Lise
too.
is a great character compared to all the others in Final Fantasy XIV, but by and large, she's not the worst character I've ever seen in literature either. So I can't really say I dislike her, but she's not in my favorites either. Before I continue, major spoilers ahead for almost everything in Stormblood. So if you've not finished from ARR up to base Stormblood, then I'd recommend skipping this video. But if you have, then let's continue. So today's character is none other than Lise Hext. But who is Lise? A quick synopsis of her bio.
Great.
She is an Alamegan citizen, born and raised, and was a member of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. However, as she acted as a member of the Scions, she was under the disguise of her older sister, an individual named Ida. Ida was originally Papalymo's assistant. They would travel together throughout Eorzea, taking care of odd jobs and collecting information for the Circle of Knowing and eventually the Scions of the Seventh Dawn.
Okay.
But unfortunately, Ida was killed when she was trying to smuggle Alamegan refugees away from the Garlean Empire. Lise was, of course, destroyed by this information, but instead of giving in to despair, she chose to assume Ida's position. She put on a mask and pretended to be her older sister in order to keep her memory alive.
Right.
Eventually, she uncovers herself and explains why she did what she did. But ultimately, the Scions don't mind that she pretended to be someone else, because at the end of the day, she was still willing to do what was right and fight the evil in the world. At the end of the day, Lise is a good and honest person, and no one can take that away from her. Eventually, she works with the Scions to not only liberate the country of Doma in the Far East, but then she comes back to Eorzea to help liberate Alamigo at the same time. Through those events, she actually ends up becoming head of the Alamegan Resistance, and eventually, after Alamigo is saved, one of the major political leaders of the country. On paper, Lise is an amazing person with many accomplishments under her belt. But the reason people don't care for Lise are the conditions on which these things occurred. I can assume some of you are wondering, what do I mean by this?
Yeah, what conditions?
And honestly, it's very simple. She was written to be one type of character, but was made to act as a completely different one at the same time.
Okay.
When you get to really know Lise, you realize that she's a short-tempered, easily provoked, impulsive, and kind of kick first, punch first, ask questions later kind of gal. Some people would even go as far as to say she's a bit of a ditz. But honestly, there are many characters in writing and media that these traits work phenomenally well with. So why didn't they with Lise? Ultimately, she was written as this optimistic freedom fighter with a sort of short-sighted mentality, but that was endearing and loving to some people.
Right.
The problems arise when Lisa's actions and experience do not reflect her choices. When Lisa's helping Lord Hien try to save and liberate Doma, she even comments on how inspiring of a leader he is, how there are traits that he has that she wished she did. She comments that she isn't the type of leader that Hien is, but she aspires to be one day, if not for Alamigo.
Right.
But unfortunately, that's not what happens. Lise is more or less the same character at the end of Stormblood that you met at the beginning. The only real difference is that her titles and position have changed, and this lack of character growth, this lack of natural progression, is what causes a lot of people to think that she doesn't quite deserve her position or any of the respect of the other characters.
I can see what they mean about that.
Allow me to give you some examples. Back before Stormblood was even a thing, there was the whole falling out with Ul'dah and the Scions of the Seventh Dawn being accused of the murder of the Sultana.
Right.
Lise and Papalymo, of course, were able to escape and get away from it all. At some point, instead of rejoining with the other Scions, Lise insisted to Papalymo that they needed to investigate this shady character named the Griffin and what his plans for the Alamigan resistance were.
Right.
At first, Papalymo agrees, seeing that these actions certainly are shady and warrant a small investigation. But this minor investigation eventually blows up into a massive trying to help the major Alamigan resistance instead of returning to the Scions.
Right.
This is something that Papalymo chastises Lise for. He reminds her that as a Scion of the Seventh Dawn, her duty isn't just to Alamigo's resistance, it's to the entirety of Eorzea, if not the world. But unfortunately, Lise is the kind of character, as we've said, is short-sighted, impulsive. She's not looking at the big picture. She's looking at the problem in front of her and trying to beat it into submission. Already, Lise is portrayed as a character that isn't very clever or forward-thinking. Which again, most people wouldn't mind, but unfortunately, responsibility and leadership are ultimately thrusted onto Lise. For some reason, when Conrad, the official leader of the Alamigan resistance, was dying, he named Lise as his official successor, and told her that she needed to inspire the resistance and carry on the legacy for him.
It didn't seem
now,
like she
this made a lot of people scratch their heads, because unfortunately, Lise has not yet proven herself to be a competent leader, much less someone that can organize and direct an entire resistance army.
Right.
Another example of her horrible leadership skills and extremely short-sighted behavior is really the collection of individuals she chose to bring into Alamigo Castle to try and reconcile their differences and make a plan moving forward. Okay. The idea of turning a monarchy into a republic is a very noble idea. However, Lise makes a massive error which makes no sense as someone who used to work with the Scions of the Seventh Dawn.
What does she do?
She openly invites a tempered individual into the castle. Mind you, this is before a cure to tempering has been found. To these characters, there's still no cure to tempering yet as far as they know. And every single instance of tempering that the Scions of the Seventh Dawn have dealt with have been religious zealotry.
Right.
They've said multiple times over through the MSQ that tempered individuals cannot be rationalized with, they cannot be dissuaded or bargained with. They are so obsessed with their deity, they are willing to do anything in order to summon it or get more followers for it.
Right.
Lise was in the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. She knew how dangerous these people were, but eventually brought them into the castle anyways. She put everyone in the castle's life in mortal danger just because she thought that it was the right choice to make. And like I said, this ties all the way back to Lise showing her very short-sighted and impulsive nature. She means well, but she doesn't do well. And again, those aren't good leadership traits. Now it could be said that she was thrust into this position as someone that didn't want the leadership titles or responsibilities in the first place. But ultimately, that doesn't matter anymore.
She accepted
People
it.
that had passed on had given their wills, their desires to her.
Right.
It's no longer about what she wants anymore. It's about what everyone around her wants. But unfortunately, she sticks to her guns. She's still ditzy. She's still impulsive, short-sighted. And lastly, there's the credit of liberating Alamigo. Yes, Lise was there from front to back in the story for Stormblood. But was she as influential as the characters want to make her sound? Not really.
She was around.
Ultimately,
She was
it's not
there.
Lise and her leadership that guides Alamigo to its freedom. It's the combined power of the Eorzean Alliance. It's not Lise who defeats the Garlean Empire and their secret weapon. That's the Warrior of Light. The most Lise ever really did for the Alamigan Resistance was lead a few small groups in hit-and-run tactics, and then assume a figurehead position as the leader of the Alamigan Resistance, which, as I just said, was more or less organized and run by the Eorzean Alliance. So, on paper, she's a character that's supposedly accomplished many, many things in her life, but in actuality, when you see the scenes acted out, she doesn't really do much, and the things she does do are boisterous and impulsive. And like I said at the very beginning, many people find these kind of characteristics entertaining. And honestly, if Lise stayed as a sort of support cast type character, then I don't think anyone would have cared. I don't think anyone would have minded. In fact, I think many, many more people would have liked Lise, maybe even loved her. But that wasn't the case at all. She was a character with no leadership skills, thrust into a leadership position, and then given credit for things that ultimately she wasn't truly responsible for. And other characters throughout the entirety of Final Fantasy XIV keep reminding the player character about how irrational and overly emotional Lise can get. And ultimately, I feel like that's why so many people are split on whether they do or don't like Lise. There are so many people that either really like her or really hate her. And the problem with Lise is inconsistency with her writing. How the game portrays her, how she acts, what she does, what she's given credit for, what she says and what she doesn't say are more or less inconsistent with each other. She says she wants to be like Lord Hien, chooses not to be like Lord Hien when she gets back to Alamigo. She assumes the role of a leadership position in Alamigo after the Empire falls, and then makes some of the stupidest decisions ever, regardless of all the experience she should have as someone that was a member of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn.
Wow, he's really
and
going
finally,
into...
despite everything hinging on the support of the Eorzean Alliance and the power of the Warrior of Light, Lise proclaims that it was the will of the resistance of Alamigo that ultimately gave the country its freedom back. So I can understand why some people were looking at their screen going, "Are you freaking kidding me?" But honestly, that's just a short analyzation of her character and why some people may or may not like her. I plan on doing a full analysis of her life and her decisions later on, much like the other Scions of the Seventh Dawn in the future.
Great.
But this is just one person's opinion. Please leave a comment suggesting what you thought about Lise and what you think may or may not have been done well with her character. But like I said at the start of the video, please be respectful to one another. Though that'll be enough from me for now. So, enjoy the weekend. And once again, stay safe, my friends.
Yeah,
Hello, everyone! Thank you so
The Lise hate I do think it is a little overblown. I don't think she's as bad as a lot of people think she is. I just thought they could have done more with the character. And yeah, she's not a bad character. I thought she had her moments. It's just she didn't have enough moments to make me like her. I just thought she was an okay supporting character. Why I hated Alpha No.
Hey everyone, just wanted to make a quick announcement real quick that I've made a Discord for the YouTube channel, so if you're interested in hanging out with other lore enthusiastic people, or want to have the chance to try and talk to me one-on-one, then now is your opportunity. I won't be in the Discord 24/7, mostly because I have to work on videos and other things, but it could be fun. So if something like that interests you, then hop on by. So before I get started, yes, there are going to be a lot of spoilers in this video. So if you're not interested in learning the hows and whys of a character, then I'd recommend watching this at a later date. It'd be safe to watch this in Stormblood. Okay, wait. Okay? I could already feel some of you already moving your mouse to dislike the video, or heck, maybe you've already disliked it because of the title. Allow me to explain. First off, the title is in past tense. I hated Alphino Leveilleur. Do I still hate him? No, absolutely not. I think he's one of the most well-developed characters in the story so far.
Agree.
And now I'm going to explain why. A bit of a quick character bio first, to those who don't know. Alphino and Alizé Leveilleur are the son and daughter of Fortunato Leveilleur, who is a highly respected politician and mage of Old Charlia, and the grandchildren of Louis-Soix Leveilleur, who is hailed as being one of the most powerful archons in Charlene history, as well as the savior of Eorzea, if not the entire world.
Right.
On top of this ridiculous pedigree, the two of them are practically savants. Both Alphino and Alizé Leveilleur were accepted into the studium at age 11. This is unheard of, even in a city-state full of intellectuals like Old Charlian. Imagine in our own society if someone graduated, say, high school at 11 and then immediately just jumped into college, because why not?
I remember at my university, there was one kid, and I do mean kid, there was like a 13-year-old at our college that I had in my, it was like a geography class, I think. It was one of the elective classes. And yeah, he was a kid. It was really weird to see. But it happens.
No, to say that Alphino and Alizé are prodigies is an understatement. The two of them are incredibly intelligent. So this powerful pedigree combined with the fact that they're child prodigies, honestly, if someone came to a D&D table with characters like this, I can already hear some other people at the table waiting for them to also say, oh, by the way, they're part god too, just to solidify the fact that how much better this character is than everyone else in the room. So right out the box, Alphino and Alizé have almost every reason to have a holier-than-thou personality, and that's what Alphino had in ARR, and that's why I hated him. Allow me to elaborate. Alphino Leveilleur, when you first meet him in ARR, is condescending, egotistical, and overall immature.
Fair.
Sure, he comes from a very influential family, and he is a child prodigy, so he's smarter than most people in Eorzea. However, this does not mean he was wise.
Okay.
See, that's the thing that people confuse with intellect. Just because you're smart doesn't necessarily mean you're clever. And that is personified in Alphino's initial personality traits.
Right.
Sure, he was able to think tactically, plan ahead, and imagine scenarios that would best suit all parties involved. which made him into a good politician or ambassador. However, he was very immature and unwise, which meant he was easy to manipulate, easy to fool. His naivete was on display for all to see, and more than a few people took advantage of that.
Yeah.
The reason I didn't care for Alphino in A Realm Reborn was because of all these character traits. No one wants to go traveling with someone that pretends and acts like they're so much better than you. It's annoying and condescending, even if it's true. So yes, his initial personality did rub me the wrong way.
Right.
And if that was the intent,
Me too,
then
by the way.
bravo.
Me too.
Hats off to you. But then something happened that changed his perspective of not only himself, but the world around him. You see, the grand companies of the city-states basically act as the military arm of every country in Eorzea. Of course, the grand companies are trying to serve the best interest of their city-states, with no one kind of serving as a mediator or middle ground. Normally, that's a situation the adventurers and the Adventurers Guild would fill. But Alphino wanted to create something of a permanent solution. His answer to that problem was the Crystal Braves. The Crystal Braves was supposed to be his own version of a grand company that would be neutral, that would serve the best interests of Eorzea as a whole instead of the best interest of every country individually. Right off the bat, he made an ambitious decision and was trying to create a legacy before he even hit his 20s, which would have been impressive to say the very least.
If he pulled it off,
But problems arose when his naivete was on full display during the recruitment process. You see, not everyone who joined his Crystal Braves were interested in the same things that he was. There were people with radical and selfish decisions, and he was so blinded by his own arrogance, Alphino couldn't see the corruption on these people that he was bringing in. So what happened? A huge percent of the Crystal Braves turned out to be just that. Selfish, cruel, fanatics. And by the time Alphino realized the kind of people that he had invited and given power to, it was far too late. And all sorts of bad things began to happen because of the positions he allowed people to gain strength in. To say this event is humbling for him wouldn't do it justice. For a while, he was broken and didn't understand where he went wrong or what else he could have done. It wasn't until he was willing to eat that slice of humble pie that he realized he had been played, outsmarted, outwitted. And it was at this point in Heaven's Word that he goes on this sort of journey of self-discovery and realization.
He goes
in Heaven's Word,
emo.
he travels with Isael, Estinian, and the Warrior of Light across Dravania to try and solve the mysteries of the Dragon Song War. And during these travels, he spends time with people that he comes to care about and respect, almost like older siblings, especially Estinian. Here were these people that barely had a fraction of his intellect, but they had everything else he knew he didn't have, which was experience, wisdom, and more importantly, resolve. Estinian and the other NPCs weren't afraid to treat Alphino his age, like the naive child that he technically was. And while Alphino may have found this annoying on multiple occasions, part of him started to realize it's okay for him to be young and naive, because he was still just a child. And it was okay to learn, grow, and experience during these travels with the Warrior of Light and the other characters. So his mask of superiority, which was cracked because of the failure of the Crystal Braves, was finally pulled off of his face by Estinian and Isael.
Right.
Beneath that mask was a kid who was too smart for his own good. But once he realized that being young and foolish wasn't a crime, and no one was actually looking down on him for it, he finally was able to relax. This was when Alphino's true personality began to emerge. And throughout Stormblood and Shadowbringers, we start to see Alphino Levier in his truest form.
Right.
You see, he felt
finally
because
grew up.
of his heritage, because of his intellect, he had to act the part. He had to behave a certain way in order to earn the respect of others and honor his family. But he was officially done with that now. His conversations with the Warrior of Light and other characters became more relaxed. His interactions with his sister became more wholesome and loving. And once he stopped caring about this false persona he was putting up, he was allowed to be himself. Of course, his ambitions, his dreams, never changed. He always wanted what was best for the world. And he was always a good person because of it. How he was going about it was all wrong. But once he traveled with Estinian, Izael, and the Warrior of Light, he finally realized it's okay for me to not know everything. It's okay
He learned a lot.
to travel the world and learn more, expand my horizons.
Yeah.
And that was the lesson that his grandfather, Louis Swan, was truly hoping his grandson would learn. And that's the reason I went from hating Alphino Levier to loving the interactions with him and his sister both in our adventures throughout Shadowbringers and the future Endwalker expansion. It wasn't the fact that he was smart that was annoying. What was annoying was the fact that he was wearing a mask and pretending to be something he wasn't for the sake of an opinion that never even mattered. Once this false mask was finally taken off, he was allowed to be himself, and I love him for it. Him and his sister both. This is why Alphino's character development is amazing. His story proves it's not a crime to make mistakes or be immature. The crime is failing to learn from those mistakes, to refuse to change and grow. If you go throughout your entire life failing to reflect on your choices and actions, then all you're going to ever do is blame others.
Right.
Then you'll stagnate and remain that annoying, self-righteous little child that everyone met in ARR. But fortunately,
that everyone
wasn't
hated
the case
in
with
ARR.
Alphino. And he took the time to not only understand himself, but his own place in the world around him.
Right.
Now, that does not mean Alize matured in the same way that Alphino did. No. She is her own person, and while she is also a child prodigy with the same pedigree, there are some personality traits that put her ahead of her brother in the maturity department. And I'll do a brief case study on her at a later date. But that'll be all from me for now. So, until next we meet, stay safe, my friends.
That was a good video. I pretty much agree with most
Hey everyone,
of what
just
he
wanted to
was
make a quick
saying.
announcement.
I do think that Heaven's Ward was less about Estinian, and it was more about making Alphino into a more interesting character, more likable character, because I do think in ARR, Alphino was he was a totally different character. Let's be honest here. And it wasn't until we got to the end of Heaven's Ward when a lot of people actually started to like him. He changed, he matured, he wasn't so freaking annoying. He didn't act like a know-it-all anymore. Well, he still kind of does, but he does so less than before. Overall, pretty good video. I agree with this take. I think Alphino has one of the best glow-ups of any character, and I think that is what was missing in Stormblood for Leaks, because I think Stormblood was supposed to be Lisa's redemption. It was supposed to be her character arc. It was supposed to make her more of a likable scion, and I mean, to me, it kind of seems like once we finish Stormblood, Lise was kind of just shelved as a character and thrown off to the side. So I don't know if that was purposeful. I don't know if that was intentional, but that is what happened. But okay, I'm gonna hop off for a little bit just so we can start getting this podcast set up, and I will be back in about 40 minutes. So thank you for everyone who's still here. And yeah,